prophets of the Scriptures would have given anything to live in 2012. This is the most exciting year you'll ever live in. You remember at 12 years of age that Christ was taken by his parents to the temple. And in modern-day Hebrew tradition would have been called bar mitzvah. And when they went to get him and take him home, I want to read you his words. How is it that you sought me? Wished ye not that I must be about my Father's business? At what year did Jesus Christ begin his earthly ministry? You have to hear the whole background to this. He began it at 12 years of age. 2000, nothing happened. Why is something catastrophic, the most unusual you've ever seen, going to take place?
Sure, you're saying at the end of his 12th year, about to become 13, that's why it's at the end of 2012 they think all this stuff is going to happen, because it's 6,000 years from Genesis with 12 years added on the end. That's basically what the this former oil company CEO told you?
2012, there will be divine manifestations, is what they're saying. I did not say divine intervention. You remember that when Daniel was thrown in the lion's den, the book of Daniel, God did not save him from the lion's den. Instead, he went to the lion's den with him. God's not going to come back and save you from the New World Order. God's going to give you enough sense and understanding to know what to do so that you can live a normal life through what the New World Order is going to give you. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the three Hebrew children, God did not keep them from going to the fire furnace. He went in the fire furnace with them. And what
about the 7 fat years and the 7 lean, too?
Yes, and the king went down into the fire furnace, and he said, wait a minute, how many did I throw in there? And the soldier said, 3. And he said, I'll see 4 down there. And the 4th is likened unto the Son of God. You are going to see, Alex, I guarantee you that you will have me on your program at least once a month interpreting what's happening in 2012. We're going to see some of the most unusual divine manifestations. You're going to see unusual Devil's Messiah programs. You're going to see unusual things about the financial world take place in 2012. It's going to fulfill so much of the Scriptures, you will be amazed. You do not have to suffer through this time.
Amazing. Lindsey Williams, thank you so much. We'll talk to you very soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back live. Wow, I have got so much news here. UN calls for eco-fascist world government at Durban Summit. I've got Lord Christopher Monckton joining us on the Nightly News tonight to break that down. Also, they're saying that James Cameron has vetoed the EU takeover of England, and he's being hailed as fighting the New World Order. I don't know what to make of this, but that's even the Daily Mail saying that. Yeah, world government's just out in the open now. You type world government into the search engine and hit news, you'll see every day dozens of mainstream articles. Wow, it's crazy to be alive right now. Corzine is stunned that MF Global couldn't find missing funds. We're going to get into all of that. Mercosi, letter to EU, now is the time to strip countries of sovereignty. Americans leaving the U.S. in record numbers. They want to put AI systems in your car and cell phones that track everything you're doing. No more talking behind the wheel. Scientists develop a system that can shut down your cell phone while you're driving. That is something we're going to be breaking down. Also, some good news, the globalists have declared war on the U.S. infrastructure and the European infrastructure, Australia, New Zealand, the globalist holdings. They're shutting down the wealthy West because we're their enemy. And then trying to move everything to third world nations where they totally control the population. Shutting down our power infrastructure, saying they want to. Post-industrial, harassing farmers, ranchers, premises ID, animal ID, harassing small meat packers. They've shut down most of them. They passed, well, the EPA came out and said, we now are going to fine you for hay. Hay is a pollutant. I'm not joking. You remember that earlier in the year. They said any dust off hay, anything, $10,000 fines. And we're going to come in without warrants, and if there's dust, they have little meters, kind of like a cop pulling you over and checking your window tint. If there's dust in the air, $10,000 fines. Dust in a field. I'm not joking. Here is the Hill newspaper. Farm dust bill approved in House. The House on Thursday approved legislation Republicans said was aiming to ensuring the EPA cannot regulate so-called farm dust. Now, again, this is a military economic shutdown operation. And they tell the bureaucrats, go write more tickets, go harass more 18-wheeler drivers, go white glove inspect everybody or the government's going to collapse. And you go suck money out of everybody, shutting down commerce. and it all gets sucked out to the foreign banks because the states, the counties are all invested in the derivatives. You help implode things believing, I've talked to these cops, yeah, tell us we got to double our quota because there's no money. There's no money. In a free market system, there's so much wealth and so much commerce, everybody gets rich, basically. Look what America became. But it's been reversed in the last few decades. The wealthiest country in the world. Our poorest people have been some of the wealthiest people per capita compared to other nations. All of those blessings are going out the door right now. Unbelievable. I was going to plug it now, but I'll plug it after the break as we go to Dr. Steve Pieczenik. Now, more than ever, it's time to support Infowars.com. But more importantly, you get tools to wake people up. You can get all 18 of my films on DVD right now for $99.95. That's 70% off. All of them, and bumper stickers and a citizen rule book. You can get all of those. We got a lot of other films we're carrying as well, like Scientist Under Attack, Outside the Law, Stories from Guantanamo, and an excellent film on Oklahoma City, the only modern one I know of out there. A lot of eyewitness reports that we've got available for you right now. A Noble Lie, available at Infowars.com. So it's all available at Infowars.com. And if you order by the 19th, it's guaranteed delivery before Christmas. So you can do all your Christmas shopping at Infowars.com. We've got bumper stickers and citizen rule books at cost. Every order gets a free citizen rule book. You can order those in bulk as stocking stuffers. Yeah, we're not into the war on Christmas here. Sorry, I'm going to say it. Christmas. Sorry, it makes you mad out there. Control freaks trying to tell me what language to use. And then there's Prisonplanet.tv. Prisonplanet.tv, we've got a Christmas special we run every year. 44% off. I keep saying 40. It's 44% off a Prisonplanet.tv membership right now. See the nightly news, everything. Okay, my friends, until about 40 after, Dr. Steve Pieczenik joins us, frequent guest here on air. Then Bob Chapman's going to join us. But at 40 after, we're going to have Steve Schenck on of eFoodsDirect.com, the biggest and longest continually operating storable foods company in the nation, because we ran a story yesterday. Oath Keepers reports and picked up articles out of News Channel 5 out of Tennessee where there's door-to-door assessment for disaster preparedness. And one of the things they're asking them with 22 questions, we've talked to the folks, is you have storable foods, firearms. It's a federal snooping operation. The state police, who Stewart and others have talked to, mean well, and the people they've got involved mean well, but they're feeding it back to the feds. And then on top of that, Oath Keepers alert federal agents demand customer list from Mormon food storage facility. And, of course, eFoods Direct's the biggest in the country. They're out in Utah. They're not affiliated with this group. And, of course, Stewart didn't release the name of the group because they're obviously a little concerned. So people are, like, running around trying to find out what group it is. We know who the group is. We haven't released the name, but we may do that or get them on air. So people are trying to find out, well, what group is this? They came into the group. They said, we want your customer list. They said, no, get a we don't keep list. And plus, you don't have a warrant. The feds got mad and left. So that's what's going on that front. And we're going to get an update from him because they've never had the feds visit him or ask for a list. But this has always been a concern, and it shows because it's confirmed they're going door to door asking about emergency preparedness. And they've got weird billboards up saying get prepared, but then listing it as a thing that's extremist, the Southern Poverty Law Center and others, to store food. So very bizarre that all of this is going on. But it fits into the bill being passed to have indefinite detention of American citizens, use the military domestically, KBR of Halliburton, now activating the FEMA camps, preparing the teams nationwide. We got those internal memos and the fact that they're getting the subcontractors ready. I'm not saying that they're going to execute this, but the point is they're getting it lined up and ready. And you notice there's warships in the Med, the Persian Gulf, Russia making threats, nukes being moved around, Pakistan threatening, Pakistan cutting off supply lines into Afghanistan, China's WHO, their president, saying we may have war with the United States, prepare for war 3 days ago. So this is super creepy. And then I have Ynet News out of Israel, one of their big publications, Risk of Israel, U.S. Strike on Iran has tripled. Senior risk analyst at Barclays Capital says chances of military operation increased from 5 to 10% to 25 to 30% in the past year. And then they also have another article here on this on Reuters. So we're going to get Steve Pieczenik's update on all of this. Steve Pieczenik, of course, co-wrote many of the books and was the advisor on the all-time best-selling military adventure novels because they're so realistic. Of course, with Tom Clancy. He's got a MD in psychiatry from Harvard and also a PhD from Cornell Medical College. I think one of the only people to ever get both those at the same time. And I can't go over his illustrious bio. And he, of course, has worked on overthrowing foreign leaders, you name it. I mean, to try to get into it. Someday we got to get Steve Pieczenik on about himself. He never wants to talk about himself and any stories he can tell us just because they're so interesting. But StevePieczenik.com, he, of course, helped us expose. And I've since talked to a national media figure and then talked to the individuals they put me in contact with at very high level in the current CIA. And they just said, we want to tell you you're right about bin Laden. Very bizarre 3 weeks ago to have this person reach out to me just to say, I just want to tell you you're right about bin Laden. Very, very strange to have that happen. And I'm just going to leave it at that. But there's a rebellion going on in the government right now against all this stuff that's happening. And that's pretty much been admitted. Steve Pieczenik told us about it months ago. Dr. Pieczenik joins us now. Doc, all this crazy stuff happening in Pakistan, what's really going on right now?
Well, I'm always glad to be on your show, Alex, and I've got to tell you how important your show is really going on. What's happening in Pakistan is we have literally created a civil war in Pakistan. And the attack of our killing 22 Pakistani officers is part of a long-term attempt by the CIA, not by our military, but the CIA, to create a government, a shadow government within Pakistan. And what we literally are doing in the Pakistani state is to divide the ISI, the Interstate Intelligence Unit, against each other, to push the military of the Pakistan against the civilians, civilians against civilians, because we no longer trust the Prime Minister or any element within the Inter-Service Intelligence Agency, which we created 20, 30 years ago to help us fight terrorism. So what's happened is we have used drones to kill Pakistani soldiers and others whom we felt have not been helping us, and we have created literally the American shadow state in Pakistan. We have gone in and created what's called the T unit within ISI. ISI is the Inter-Service Intelligence and breaking and outsourcing of the CIA 20, 30 years ago to fight the Mujahideen. But the S unit of the ISI has been working with the military government and the Prime Minister to try to stabilize it. So we are now in a civil war that we've created by the CIA, civilians, under Panetta, and we have disrupted the entire state of Pakistan and breaking it down. Now, Pakistan, more than Iran or any other state, is the most dangerous country that we can take apart because of the nuclear bombs that are there and their ability to use it and the ability for them to break away from any central control. Now, even the CIA senior analysts, including Bruce Riedel, who's one of the top CIA operatives, who created the plan for the Afghanistan-Iraq borders and having our soldiers in there, the CIA said, this is a bad situation going to worse. And one of our senior generals who was fired by Panetta and Obama, a distinguished admiral by the name of Dennis Blair, who's the director of national intelligence, said repeatedly, the CIA cannot run these drones continuously into Pakistan and CIA. That is not